everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Virtual Engagement Ideas Summit. Our special guest today joins us all the way from North Dakota, Jen Kacere. How are you, Jen?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you. You have a reputation in the field as being really great at engaging students on the computer machine. This little thing that we have here. But before we jump to that, let's get a little bit of background on you. Where did you start your higher ed journey?
So I started my higher ed journey at Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa as an undergraduate student. I was involved in my residence hall within hall government and within RHA, as well as then became an RA. And from there I went to Missouri and then on to Nebraska. And then I ended up here in North Dakota.
Fancy Fargo. I love Fargo. I get to come there every once in a while, and I always love it. Hey, uniquely about you, unlike many of the folks that may be watching this or that we know who are just in their first months of virtual engagement, you have been engaging students online since 2015. Tell me about that.
So I'm a part of our National Association for College and University Residence Halls, or NACUR, and our students here on the NDSU campus are also affiliated. It is very much the largest student organization in the world. From there, we are part of our Midwest affiliate, and I was the regional advisor for 4.5 years. NACUR has always been a virtual organization, which is really cool. You know, back in the day, they did a lot of things through, the phone and whatnot. And then it moved to, AOL Messenger, and then to Skype. And then in 2015, we took the plunge and went to Zoom. And so we've been using Zoom since then, and really have found great success in the ability to connect with others virtually across the region, across the country, across the world. And then when you have the opportunity to meet in person, it makes it all that much more grand because you already know those people.
Right. I mean, do you remember, like when we all were? My first Zoom was in March. Just to throw that out there. You had already been doing it though for 5 years, right? And one of the things that I remember you saying is that you feel that you've actually been able to build stronger relationships with some of your advisees who you meet with online than the ones that you meet with in person. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting concept to think that you could really connect and get to know your students virtually even more than you would in person. And some of that just comes, you just spend a lot of time on the computer screen with them, connecting with them, having conversations, being goofy, asking the random, question cards, or being able to just show who you are. And those things happen well after hours at times when I was advising those organizations. But I think those really created strong connections and are relationships that have been long lasting for me years after I have been done advising those students.
Right. I mean, do you think that the conversations are more can get more personal on this? Like because if you're meeting with an advisee on campus, they're meeting in your office, and then there's always a schedule. Like you always, so they have to go to class or they have to go here. But when you're meeting online, is it more laid back?
I think so. I think it was always about, for me, and I would say it has now turned into the in-person piece too.
Yeah.
I will always take time to just get to know that student first.
Yeah.
And so my first one-on-one with them will be just a connection. So let's talk about who you are and what you enjoy and all of those pieces, whether that's virtually or in person. But I think that helps to base the conversation where it goes, and how to develop those things. And then they also see you in different places. Right now I'm in my office and students, have seen me in this space, but when you're at home, they see you in different parts of your home.
Sure.
They've seen me in coffee shops. Like, it's almost like you can go on tours or trips with them during those experiences. I've had lunches with them when, they're a virtual in a different location than I am, and they're in a coffee shop and I'm in a coffee shop, and we're eating our lunches together and having that meeting or gathering, whatever that may be at that
Yeah, that's neat. Are there any like, do you have go-to questions like when you're meeting with a new advisee?
time. I mean, just the basics initially. I feel like a lot of my conversations, once you start with one question and you start digging in, then you just continue to develop those questions. I
Right.
try really hard not to have pre-developed questions because I
Uh-huh.
think that's not authentic.
Right.
And you want your conversations to be authentic. For
Yeah.
me, it's about making them feel like they belong as a part
Yeah.
of this group,
Right.
or individuals, or that they also know that I am there for them. And I
Right.
think that has been probably the biggest success for me, is really showing students that they mean more to me than just they're a student I work with. They're a part of my life. And
Yeah.
so, they get to develop how much they want to share with me and
Right.
how much they want to connect with me in that way. And for some students, initially they take me as very intimidating. I hear that often. And then they get to know me and they're like, oh, she's just really goofy, and she's just here for us and she'll support us. And, you know, that's what it's about at the end of the day, is
Right.
creating that initial connection.
Right. So right now it seems like we're having a pretty professional conversation, right?
Yep.
So what is this goofy person that you're talking about? Who is this mysterious Jen? Uh,
Well, I really like weird random things.
okay.
In particular, I like cows. So, I just randomly have cow hats in my office, a cowbell.
Right.
I have another,
Yeah.
cow headband. Um, I randomly, not randomly, at times during the year, I will, wear my cow costume. So, our regional affiliate and where I started doing the Zoom pieces,
Yeah.
uh, the mascot is a cow. And
Okay.
so I have learned, and students just know I enjoy cow things.
Yeah.
And so I have a cow costume. So sometimes, I'll just randomly
Right.
pull
Right.
that out and be fun about it. But you got to do those things, and show who you are. I
Yeah.
also really enjoy the Hallmark channel, and so students enjoy giving me a hard time
Uh-huh.
about my love for the Hallmark channel, and all of the love movies that always end in a certain way. And
Sure.
so it's just really fun to be able to show who I am through my interactions with students. And then knowing, like, through Zoom you can use the different backgrounds,
Yeah.
and the backgrounds never work for me, so it's always like this wonky uh,
Right.
part of my face is green and part of my face is not, depending on the background. So it's just fun to be able to connect with them
Right.
and do that in a different way.
Well, and you use it, so you use the backgrounds anyway, even though it's not perfect, right?
Yep.
Is that, and that's just because of your personality? You're like, it doesn't matter. Throw
Yeah, I
caution
mean,
to the wind.
sometimes we find it to be entertaining. Like
Right.
sometimes in meetings, I feel like, oh, we need a break. So we just pull out the virtual backgrounds and
Right.
see which ones we can come up with, or what funny one can we find today. And then, we're
Yeah.
inserting pictures and
Right.
trying to
Right.
make some fun behind our work. Because if we don't have fun in the work that we do, then why are we doing it? And so
Yeah.
it's about creating those moments that you will remember for a long time.
It's a really great attitude to bring the fun. And if you're not having fun, why are you doing it, right? But like in this time, what's keeping you? It's a stressful time of year globally, nationally, on your campus, like with your students. What are you doing every day to bring a smile to your own face?
I think for me, it's just about continuing to connect with students and
Yeah.
remembering that we have to be student focused.
Uh-huh.
On, I think the personal side, I think it's just important to take those moments and enjoy the small things. So
Yeah.
whether that's, watching a Hallmark movie or
Yeah.
putting that
Yeah.
on at the end of each day,
Yeah.
or finding time to just connect or reconnect with someone
Yeah.
that you haven't in a long time, I think
Yeah.
it's just about figuring out what makes sense for you. But
Right.
in this time, it's all been about how are we going to do the best for our students,
Right.
and those that we work with, to make sure that we're all safe. And
Yeah, and you're cool with being vulnerable as well. Not just sharing, like, not that you just love sharing that you love the Hallmark Channel and that you like cow costumes, but honest life experiences that you share as a way to connect, right?
absolutely, I
Yeah.
think it's important to share those those things in life that happen that we always are learning from.
Mhm.
I believe it's important to share with students like the ups and downs in your own life, whether that's been growing up or whether
Yeah,
that's, through relationship pieces. Like,
yeah,
we're all human and we're all going through some of the same things. And if we're not vulnerable with them, then they're not going to be vulnerable with us.
right.
Some of my best conversations have been, they start on Zoom or they start in a virtual medium, and maybe then it ends up on a, car trip to a conference or
Right.
a connection like that. And some of those are the best moments as an advisor and
Yeah.
as just a person, because you can have random conversations that just end up being a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to learn from you that that we can really genuinely make connections on this platform. That just because some students can't come to campus or just because some students can't travel from their home countries, that we still can build the relationships, right? And what about for somebody who's less goofy than you? Like, you're happy to put on a cow hat, but what about an advisor who doesn't want to put on a cow hat? Do you have other like engagement ideas that help you move a conversation along?
I think it's first and foremost, I think you have to be comfortable with this little square. And
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
all have our own little square that we're in. And
yeah,
so you have to be comfortable with what is behind you and knowing that, things are going to change in those moments that you're with them, and you've got to be okay with
right.
that. And so from there, you figure out how you're going to connect with them. So maybe
Yeah,
that is you need, a box of question cards, or
sure.
you need, different things to help you get there. But
Yeah,
you also have to be willing to put away your email, because it's so easy when we're on this computer to see things that are happening in the background. And
sure.
we
Yeah,
have to make sure that we're putting that student first. And maybe
yeah,
you're taking a few notes throughout your time with them, but how do you create that environment where they know you're listening to them and you're focused on them? Because
yeah,
so
right.
many times, how many times you've been in a Zoom meeting and you're like, no one's listening to me? Like, there's these glazed looks and you're like,
Yeah,
well, I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
I'll just keep
But
talking.
you can
Or,
also see, I mean, it's really obvious to see, like, if I went like this on a Zoom call, you know what I'm doing, right?
yep,
Right.
send her a
And so
text
it's really,
message. Look at
it
me.
being intent, like, or if you look, if you have an alert on your computer and you're like, and you put your hands up and you start doing that and you're not listening to the person. So you're right. Really be, like, turn all your things off, focus on the person who you're spending time with. That's good advice. It's great advice. But let's get into your little card box. Can we try one funny? Ask me a question, Jen. I know this is not my interview, but I feel like we should see the results of that cool little tool you have.
All right, let's see here.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the right one here.
Oh, you're gonna hand select.
All right, I found it.
Okay.
What is something funny that has happened to you?
What is something funny that's happened to me? Oh well, do we have 8 years to spend on this? Like a lot, I think a lot of funny things happen to me because I think maybe I have a similar personality to you, that I let things be funny, right? That serious things, which could be spun either way, right? So a lot of it has to do with your attitude, right? So you can choose to take something. Um, you know what I do a lot now? Like when I spill cereal or when I have an accident, like where I like Cheerios spill it on the counter, or specifically with my backpack, right? I have a little zipper at the top of my backpack full of a lot of things, and oftentimes I forget to zip it and I throw my backpack on and that stuff just goes flying everywhere. And I have a choice in that moment to laugh and be like, "Oh, I did it again," or to yell at myself and be frustrated with myself. And I think having that knowing that you have a choice and that you can make that moment funny, right? So is that a fair answer to your question?
It is. I have one more.
Okay, good.
What is the strangest food you have ever tried?
I would say tripe, and tripe is cow stomach,
Oh, I couldn't do that.
right? What I didn't,
Very
yes,
interesting.
I think you could do it if you were in another country and the host family was serving you the food,
So
right?
where did you have it at?
In Italy. And I was an exchange student in high school, and my host family and I went to a small Italian village, and it was the soup that was served was tripe. And really, like in North America, in the United States, we've never had a war on our land to the extent that we needed to eat every bit of the cow, right? So in other countries, when you slaughter an animal, you consume all of it. There is no waste, right? So you create something out of all the parts of the animal. So in World War II, Italy was overrun with the Germans, and they needed to make the food go a long way. So you'd eat cow tongue, you'd eat the eyes of the pig, you'd eat the goat eyes. Like, I know this is right, but so when a family, or when I'm in somebody else's space in their home in rural Italy, and they say this is our regional delicacy. But yes, was it strange? Was I able to overcome it? Yes, because everybody else around me was loving it. And I thought, well, if they're willing to eat it and they're still standing and they eat it all the time, well, let me give it a whirl. But it was strange.
Very strange.
Yeah.
But those are memories that you have, and you created
Yeah.
a connection with those people as you were eating that meal, and have a great memory and fun fact or funny, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, strangest food you've ever eaten before.
It's the strangest food, but I really think, like, even though, Jen, we have choices in those moments as well.
Mhm.
Right? Because I could have made a face and said, I can't believe you crazy country Italians eat cow stomach, and just snobbed been snooty about it. But that's not the way that I want to be in the world. And I know that I know that kind of is, I like that about your attitude too. Right?
You always have to be willing to try and engage and try something new. For me, the weirdest thing that I have had was octopus, which may not seem real weird, but I'm not an adventurous trier. So, you have to be willing to try something, because you never know what you could find. And I think that's what even this technology has shown us.
Yeah.
We try something we have never done before, we don't know where that's going to take us.
Yeah.
And you can create really cool opportunities for students, for family,
Yeah.
even in this weird time that we live in. But I think that some of this will become part of our new normal.
Right. Where were you when you ate octopus? Speaking of experimenting with computers.
I was in Greece.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Was it a situation where you felt like you had to eat it because of the people you were with, or were you just having an adventurous moment?
I was just having an adventurous moment.
Yeah.
Everybody else was trying it, and I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I was like, I have to try this. I'm only in Greece once in my life, probably. I have to try this.
Yeah.
And so I did, and it wasn't that bad. But I am glad that I tried it and was able to experience it. And we had a lot of good laughs over that meal. So,
Right.
And I think those are the memories that come along with, food and conversation, is all of the fun memories and whatnot that we have.
That's cool. So here's what I'm going to do, Jen. I'm going to refer to my list of questions that I always keep handy. How about that?
All right.
Where would you go if you could go anywhere in the world?
I would go to Bali.
Okay.
And it's actually on my list.
Yeah.
And hopefully after this pandemic, that will be somewhere that I can go.
Yeah.
Sooner than later. It seems so relaxing and beautiful, and a place that I want to visit.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, have you seen it in movies or read about it? Is that what inspired it?
It did. I really like, it's a movie and now I can't think of it.
Was it on the Hallmark Channel?
No, Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay.
When she, goes to Bali and experiences that really has made me want to go there. But there is a movie on the movie on Hallmark Channel that I really want to go somewhere with, and that's Iceland.
Oh.
Because that just seems so beautiful and interesting to learn about. But that was truly inspired by a Hallmark.
Yeah. But wouldn't you say that Eat, Pray, Love would be like, make it to Hallmark eventually?
I mean, there's similar ones,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You're a romantic is really what it comes down to.
I guess.
I guess. Super fun chatting with you. Like, what have we learned today? We've learned that yes, you can engage on the internet, online in this space. that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's great to be goofy. It's okay to
Yep.
have fun. It's definitely okay to have things at your hand. Like, yeah, it's great. It's fun. But it's also like, this is just something that we share in common, that it's okay to have things that, like, if you're at a loss for a conversation. This list I made is just called conversation starters, and it was something that I gave to camp counselors at the beginning of summer camp, so that they could have. And it's very, very like summer campy questions. So none of them are like, when was the first time you went to the hospital? Like, that's not the kind of questions that we're asking. We're asking more elevating, like, where do you want to go if you could go anywhere in the world? What's your favorite kind of candy? And I want to know, what's your favorite kind of candy, Jen?
I really like Snickers.
Oh yeah, me too. How about that?
I'm the
That's cool.
candy office, so people are always stopping in for candy. It's
Oh,
always important to also have that when you're in person.
right.
Virtually, we've done conferences virtually. We've done those things, and I have done conferences in the box because I think it's still important to have those food. Food is important when it comes to experience.
Oh, tell me. Wait a minute. Tell me about this. You've hosted a conference, or you've been part of a conference, but you sent people things.
Yeah, so we attended our annual conference,
Uh huh.
and typically we'd be in person together.
Right.
We do a lot of spirit type things, but this year with it being virtual, we still wanted to have that spirit and show our
Yeah.
NDSU pride. And
Right.
so we created a conference in the box, and so we mailed everyone the spirit items, some snacks, their packet, all of those things, so that they had those things when they were at home,
Oh, that's
not
really cool.
with us. And so it was
Yeah.
really a fun way to still show our pride and
Right.
have a little bit of fun, and to also know that they were important. Because I think at
Right.
the end of the day, that's what the most important thing that we do is making sure
Yeah.
students feel like they belong, and that whoever belongs to the work that we're doing.
That's really nice. I mean, was it how many packets did you send out?
We had 12 of us in our
Yeah.
delegation,
Yeah.
so I think I ended up mailing like 10 of them.
Right. What a cool idea. I mean, even if you're the advisor for a club or an organization and you knew that you were going to meet with students, your first meeting was going to be sometime in September, to send everybody something in common so they can share. That's a cool idea. That's a really cool idea. Yeah, and you don't actually have to go to the post office now because you can order everybody the same thing on Amazon, right? If you don't need to go branded, you can send everyone a Snickers bar.
Yep. I think those things are important, making sure that you
Yeah.
appreciate them and you affirm
Right.
them, and they
Right.
understand, that the small things go a long ways. And so that, I think, is also the second piece of the genuine connection, is that we
Yeah.
have to think differently when it comes to
Right.
supporting them. It
Yeah.
may not just be, and I did that when I was advising regionally and we were on a
Right.
screen,
Right.
90% of the year. I would send random things, I would send cards. Those moments go a long ways to students
Right. And
and to professionals.
yeah, and you're not at a tiny school either. Like, you've
No,
got a lot of students.
we do. We have 14,000.
Right. That's, to me, that's a lot of people. You know. Right now I'm alone in this room. There's not 14,000 people here with me.
Hey, but I'm here with you. And
I know.
so
Isn't that the best?
we can be miles away from each other and still be
Right.
able to connect
Right.
and create that connection. And then I think it's about the follow up.
Yeah.
You have to follow up with messages,
Yeah.
through text message or Snapchat or social Facebook or
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
media may be, because those also help to show who you are and
Right.
create that connection outside of this little box.
Right. Yeah. Do you actively follow the students who you advise?
If they are comfortable with
Yeah.
that, yes.
Yeah.
Some of those that I would say that I'm probably the closest with, yes. I think that's just the way that they can connect with me and I can connect with
Right.
them, and they can see what I do outside of being at work.
Right.
Um,
Right. That you have hobbies outside of work,
yes,
like ladybug collecting.
I do like ladybugs. I go for a good garage sale or a good deal all the time.
Yeah.
Movies and travel and all
Yeah.
of those fun things. You just have to learn to find those hobbies. And I think
Right.
that's been my biggest challenge as an individual in the last 6 months, throughout this pandemic, is trying to find what is going to be my new hobby or thing that I can do when I can't be with people in person.
Yeah. So but you're actively thinking about how to put other new things into your life. That's great. It's a healthy habit.
It's
Jen,
something we
thanks for
should.
hanging out. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thanks for having me. It was great chatting with
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for letting me come visit your office and see see this version of your day, right?
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah.
great chatting with you. And I encourage everyone to push themselves to be uncomfortable in the world of having a one-on-one genuine conversation with students,
Yeah.
because that will make you stronger. If you can just try something and know that at the end will make a difference.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
See you later.
Bye.